that cone hit you.
Don't care, yeah, I've got Mike's weather page.
Here we go now. Okay.
Mike's weather page. You know you what you
Is it just me or is there spinach over here?
There's spaghetti models and empty rum bottles, and sometimes Louis says hi.
Hey, Louis.
But you don't get no hurries and don't have no worries, cause we're drunk donkey nationwide.
Everybody now.
Mike's weather page. You know he'll be tracking every move it makes. You know it's Mike's weather page. You know he won't let us all get blown away.
Did I ever tell you the story of the drunk donkey? Once upon a time, there was this weather woman.
You can come as a pilot. You stay kind of quiet, but you know you love watching Mike's page. So put your cone head shirt on, watch it live on your phone, and drink drunk donkey beer all day.
Here we go now.
Mike's weather page. You know he'll be tracking every move it makes. You know it's Mike's weather page. You know he won't let us all get blown away.
Is that Blobby Bobby? I think that's Juicy Jerry. Yeah, Mike, throw
What's up, everybody? Friday. It's a Friday song. Still got to dance, right? Sometimes Louis says hi, so it's perfect. I got Louis on my lap. Ah, the old Chevy headlight. Look at that. The Storm Chaser is ready to go. The storm has followed me to my hometown. Harold to Edall, y'all. It's not Edall, y'all yet. Edall, y'all. What's up, Mr. Dylan Hubbard? We were texting back and forth this morning. All right, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Daily Brew. This is Mike, obviously, and this is Louie. I'm coming to you. He's not a very excited dog. Coming to you live from Tampa Bay area, Oldsmar. And we talk tropics. I'm not a real meteorologist. I'm a self-taught hobbyist, just laying it out there. Official information, always go to National Hurricane Center or National Weather Service. There's nothing out there right now official from our spot that we are talking about. But we're going to show you all the latest models and what we might expect here. Not only in Florida, you got the Yucatan, Belize this weekend getting a lot of rain. But I'm going to go over everything. Even the East Coast got something to watch. That's what we're going to do. But we're going to say hey for a few minutes. So if you want to go pee, grab some coffee, you can go for it. All right, so our Daily Brew. Let's talk about things. We have a lot of supporters of our page. One of our biggest supporters is ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, located here in Florida. I cannot endorse hurricane parties. I cannot tell anybody that they're good ideas. But if that's your kind of thing, then this is the unofficial party store of Mike's Weather Page. So this is the weekend to stock up. Family owned and operated right here in the great state of FLA. I've been teasing a cold front, by the way. It's coming. You know what that means. This is the best stuff ever. TBC, Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Gourd's Gone Wild, man. You can get it at ABC. It's awesome. It is my end of the day beverage choice. All right, so here's the latest tropics map. I want to say hi to everybody for a while. We did a special live last night, but I didn't say hello to anybody. I felt like I was ignoring people. David says they're fine. Okay, don't tell anybody. I thought the hurricane cakes at Publix was fake, but apparently they're not making hurricane cakes anymore. And I don't know what's up with that. What's up, Fast Bow Tie? I assume you're a Chevy man. We own a Chevy, a Dodge, a Ford, and a Tesla. we keep it all spread out. My Chevy is my truck. Darren, what's up, Mr. Conehead? Yeah, Conehead, that goes way back. Coneheads are what we call ourselves years ago. We got a cool shirt and everything. When there is an official cone, we all pay attention to the cone, right? Good morning, Mr. Jim Miles. Good morning, Jennifer Hawkins. Panhandle. Listen, all Florida should be watching. Let me just put it to you that way. We're going to get into it in just a minute. Brandy from Santa Beta. Port for duty. Joel V from Winter Park. Amanda. Anybody new over here from YouTube or TikTok? What's up, Mr. Mike Soul? Selena from Cape Coral. Maria from Stewart. Lots of Floridians. T. Martinez from Pembroke Pines. Nacho Mama over on YouTube. Englewood Nikki, that's where I wrote out Ian. John, no, I didn't see a video yesterday from Levi. I'm sure he will today. He's got a busy job with real weather service stuff, so I expect he'll have one today. Charleston, Rachel, appreciate that. You're going to get some weather out of this, no doubt. Never try to hype, Louie. Well, we got some things to talk about. Pebble Creek, Doug, what's up? Dickie, what's up? Can everybody say E-doll y'all? E-doll y'all? E-doll y'all? E-doll y'all? All right, here we go. What's up? Also, our Daily Brew, big shout out to our local Done Right Roofing Company here in Florida, Pinellas, Pasco, Hillsboro. Might be calling them if we get some heavy rain. Saw some latest coastal rains. We could be talking several inches of rain coming. Sheared system. We're going to talk about that. But this is the current map. No anxiety. This is not an Ian. A lot of people are comparing this to Ian. So far, we're looking at tropical storm Cat 1. I saw a TikTok where somebody said that I was calling it a Cat 3. I don't think I ever even mentioned the word Cat 3. I don't think I did I? I don't ever think I did. Showed 970 millibar, but that's technically in the Cat 2 range. But go over everything here real quick. All right. Real quick, we're going to talk about Franklin. We have a lot of folks that watch not only in Florida, but there's Franklin. Here's the latest tracks on tropicaltidbits.com. Let's see if they refresh. 12Zs just came out. There they are. Good news, a couple good news. Bermuda is still trending west of Bermuda, and it's still trending away from Nova Scotia. It's still, though, it looks close to Newfoundland, okay? And that's about 6 days from now. So it's going to zigzag north. It looks like it's going to miss Bermuda. It looks like it's going to miss Nova Scotia, but it might hit Newfoundland as a strong system to watch. And I'm going to show you the models here in a little bit on that. Just wanted to give a heads up on the current track for Franklin on that one. But everything in a nutshell, here's what we got. Let me show you. All right, so we got this big old area of very sloppy system down there right now off the Yucatan. It's going to actually hang out here for like 2 days. A lot of question marks. What's going to happen down there in 2 days? If it stays over land a lot, then it might not have a chance to get too organized. If it stays east of the Yucatan, it might organize. Waters are hot. Hottest everywhere right now. This is your ocean heat content. So it's going to be having plenty of fuel down there to work with. Systems that sit pull up cooler water, but sitting on top of red, that water goes thousands of feet below the surface. So it'll have some fuel. Real quick, I mention it all the time, but, we talk a lot about the MJO. We're in an MJO enhanced phase right now. That usually promotes thunderstorm activity, rising air, thunderstorms. Not a lot of mentions about this right now, but MJO is an enhanced phase, which would allow more thunderstorms. We looked last night. I'll get into all this later, but there's going to be a lot of moisture to work with. There's not a lot of dry air. So really the only negative we have more than anything is going to be wind shear coming expected. So that, and time, maybe time. We've seen storms get pretty strong in a couple of days, so I'm not going to use time as a negative, but we do have wind shear coming in, and I'm going to show you that. Overall, though, this thing's going to lift out of here. There's an approaching cold front. Believe it or not, we have a really strong cold front coming down early week. My buddy Jim Cantori was talking about the dew points. We're talking 60s for the upper Gulf, possibly 60s for morning lows. So as we normally see later in the season, these type of systems get pulled up and they race on out of here because of that approaching front. So that's like normally what we see later season with fronts. We got a front, August, September. What's up with that? So high confidence, this thing, whatever it's going to be, it's going to pull up fast. That approaching front is going to lift it, and that's what they do. They all do this, and it's going to race out of here. And by Friday, guess what? It's long gone. So that's good news. At least being long gone. Depending on the track, though, some of the model I'm going to show you, we still showing a deepening system pressure-wise on the East Coast. What you get with these type of systems, if we do have wind shear and stuff, if it takes a path like this, a lot of the action spreads farther to the east because the upper level winds blow the storms eastward. So a classical sheared system across Florida means more storms inland, more rains inland. Same up here, we're going to be dealing with the Gulf Stream. Gulf Stream helps fuel storms. So even a skirt off the East Coast is going to bring some nasty weather along the East Coast for Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Depending on this exact track, though, is really tricky. So far, the trends are still, about like that. Very few down here, very few over here. So that's basically just to pull up and then a little bit of northeast jog before it races out of here. The other thing I need to talk about, we're going to talk about in great detail, is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, we got a blue moon. Remember Greece? Blue moon? Blue moon! That's going to bring tides up, and that's a big question mark in my mind is what we're going to see, because the way I'm going to show you a Euro map here in a second, but we're already seeing 20, 30 foot seas out there from the Euro, regardless of strength. 20, 30 foot seas. That's not surge. People get confused when they see a wave height map, but wave heights get blown towards the coast and will add to any flooding and surge. So then you add the supermoon to the high tide, and we could have 2 to 3 foot above normal tides because of the supermoon. That's what we saw with Eta in 2020. Hundreds of homes in Pinellas County were flooded because of Eta. And that storm was 60 miles off the coast. It never made landfall in Pinellas. It went way up north. It was only a tropical storm. The angle of winds was the perfect storm as it passed, and those winds pushed in along with high tide at midnight, and water rescues. Like I said, hundreds of homes were flooded. Even Oldsmar, man, we had water in the bay all the way up. Flooded part of Oldsmar. So that's my big question mark more than anything at this point, and what it's going to do down here in the next 2 days. So let's show you all the models. We'll go to tropical tidbits. Look at all the models. First storm that we've had this season that all the models are actually showing it. Even the old GFS now has jumped on board. The GFS was the last to the party. GFS. What are we talking about? So anyway, let's talk about it. Scott. Shallow water's correct. Shallow shelf waters have an easier way to rise. Shallow waters. And this includes places across the East Coast. Charleston, Brunswick, Savannah. Tuesday, Wednesday is the full blue moon, they're calling it. So it's supposed to be one of the biggest of the year. Keys, paying attention. Yep, Daytona Beach. Well, you're going to get This is almost like Nicole from the other side of the state. So let me show you the models, and then we'll talk about effects and stuff like that. So we'll zoom in closer to things. I'll go into things. We'll talk for over an hour. Trust me. Just got to be patient. It's hard to really, and I don't really talk specific locations. Sorry, it's very hard to when it's a general weather pattern we're looking at. You kind of have to assume from there. But this is Franklin. Over the weekend, we can see the Euro start to develop our system. This is tomorrow, and it slowly develops it. Sunday, this is Sunday. We can see that front coming down. It's going to start lifting our system to the north. And, overnight, keeping it real. 995, 994, 993. North of Tampa Bay. That's a minimal hurricane at worst, 990 range. So, strong tropical storm, low end hurricane, deepening off the East Coast. There's 991 on Thursday morning, 990, and then there it goes away. So lift, cross, skirt. That should be a shirt. Lift, cross, skirt. So that's one model. That we're going to show you a lot more with impacts and rains, obviously, in a minute. The GFS finally joined the party. Here's Tuesday, and it's a little weaker, but hey, at least it's not showing nothing because it was lost. So 1,003, same location. Lift, cross, skirt. Canadian model was kind of aggressive. Here's Tuesday. Oh, more panhandle. The Canadian's never the best with track, I will say that. But anyway, a little more in the panhandle, which is very possible. I'm going to show you some ensembles here in a minute. There's your lift, cross, skirt. That's silly. But hey, I mean, they're all showing strong tropical storm with possible Cat 1. Just being real. Icon is basically the same thing. So you got 4 models, anywhere from Tampa Bay to the middle part of the panhandle as far as landfall goes right now. And, the Icon's down to 994. So, yeah, it's going to be, it'll be some weather. There'll be cancellations. There'll be schools canceled Tuesday, Wednesday probably because they have to be thinking of shelters. They have to think about buses on the roads, so that's why schools cancel. So you can tell your kids there's a good likelihood if they live anywhere from maybe Tampa northward that you might have schools canceled Tuesday, Wednesday, one of them 2 days. Haven't really digested the exact day, but probably more. Well, Wednesday would almost be guaranteed. Some schools might say Tuesday. And it's going to cross the state. People are asking me Jacksonville stuff. So none of these are showing a weakening across the state. So anytime you get low pressures, you get increased thunderstorm activity. Tight isobars. So this thing skirts across Florida. We're going to have bad weather. You're going to have squally, stormy weather. There's always going to be a chance for tornadoes. There's always going to be that when you have this much wind shear environment coming in across the Gulf. And then what happens too is, let's say right here, this timestamp right here, we're going to start to see storms wrapping in probably, and sneaking in on the East Coast, even though it might be a sheared system. We'll see storms pulling up towards that East Coast. And then ultimately Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So typical effects of this crossing through the state. This is your wind maps, this is 10 meter winds. It's going to get windy. Now, this is what I'm, a little concerned about for Tampa Bay with these floods is this angle of approach here. This is the Icon, 994. I'm not hyping anything, but, could still be a hurricane, which that's what a hurricane means. I don't know what I'm trying to say. This is all right. So let me do some timestamps here. This is later Tuesday. This is Tuesday morning, afternoonish, right here, with a landfall maybe early Wednesday. Still dark. Here's Wednesday morning already over Jacksonville. But look, you can start to see these winds here, which indicate, stormy weather already coming in off it. So this is Wednesday morning. Your icon's a little faster. Here's kind of what it would look like, with the rains, obviously heavy rains, wherever this thing decides to come across. Wherever center is, this is the most nastiest weather to the right of center and to the east of center when it makes approach. Then it gets tricky. When it exits, it's the other side of the system because of the counterclockwise spin. So wherever if this goes north of Tampa, let's say, that's the worst conditions, Tampa. If it goes south of Tampa, maybe nothing. It's because of the rotation of the storm. And then when it does cross the state, things get the opposite because now the storms are coming in around backside around the Atlantic. And we start to see the storms now coming across, on the backside to the right. So there's the icon. High resolution models will be coming out soon. Let's look at the latest Euro. There's the same thing, 997. Heavy rain on the Florida West Central Coast. Heavy rain up through the middle part of the state. Heavy rain over Jacksonville, Savannah, Brunswick. Once we get out here to 991 pressure, this is, let me go to the timing again. The timing should be cut and dry. The Euro's a little slower. This is Wednesday morning right here. A little slower, might give it a little more time to get stronger. A little farther to the north might allow it a little more time to get stronger. Some of the weaker ensembles are showing not enough time to develop. Stronger ensembles a little more to the north. But, there's what it looks like. That's, heavy rain, winds into the area, strong storms crossing the state. This is Wednesday afternoon. And then here's Thursday morning, 988. That's, that's close enough to the East Coast that you'll feel something. No doubt about it. These things get over that warm Gulf Stream. Sometimes these fronts, barclonic, they call it, the fronts actually help systems over that Gulf Stream. A lot of times over the years, we've seen storms develop because of these fronts over that Gulf Stream. So it's, it might get wider and it might get, even stronger. Watch the rain bands when it crosses. This is overnight Wednesday into Thursday, but it kind of gets bigger. So if that thing stays close to the coast, then it's more than just Florida. All right, so I'm just leaving it at that. Let's look at some winds for the Euro. This is your 10-meter winds. This is showing you that pocket of strong winds Wednesday morning, pushing up into the west coast of Florida. Got the super moon. I have a good tide map page here on my site on the bottom down here. It's called Tide. Right here, where the hell is it? Tideschart.com. Right here, tideschart.com, and it's a really good site. And it'll tell you your location, and you can change the location, but when high tide is, and you get to, you'll start to, if you really, want to start, once we start digesting Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll start looking at the high tide schedule and see when the worst possible surge could happen. Somebody referenced Elena. Elena in 85 sat there and allowed the water to really push in. This one's going to be going by pretty quick, but it's still going to be sneaky. Remember Ada? Ada was very sneaky, man. I saw dozens of water rescues on Madeira Beach, right in the shores, Indian Rocks area down there. Talked to Madeira Beach Fire Department a lot. They had to replace almost their whole truck because of salt water. They were doing so many water rescues. Middle of the night, man. People went to bed that night, blew it off, and they're waking up to a foot or two of water in their homes in Pinellas County because of the rise supermoon. So this is gonna be. You mark my word. This is gonna if it takes this track to the north. If it shifts, then we're not. It's totally different. But I'm just at this point. Those 4 tracks are doing the same thing, and if it stays, that'll be one storyline. All right, let's look at ensembles here. So, latest blend of European ensembles pretty much guarantees Florida. There's almost none. Middle Panhandle down. So, very high confidence this thing's going to get lifted and turned. Lift, cross. What was the other one? Oh, lift, cross, skirt. Doll, y'all. And most of these blue lines are 980 to 999 millibar. Now we can go to Tropical Tidbits. Let me show you the latest blend of ensembles that we can really zoom in on, just to kind of show you. And we don't have spaghetti models yet because it's not an invest. Soon, but there's no spaghetti models. So if you go to the website looking for spaghetti models, it's not an invest yet, so we don't have an invest yet. Latest blend of European ensembles. Kind of keep it real. I went to bed last night thinking we might see more lower, but we didn't. So what this tells you is there's a couple 70s. That's a worst case scenario. Most of these are in the 90s, meaning 990 range. So that we're not seeing any signs of like major hurricane. Put it to you that way. So if you got major hurricane on your mind, it's very unlikely at this point because there's just not any models. We live and die by these models. Everybody's, a lot of news is saying that, there's nothing even there yet. Maybe it won't even happen. Well, models are rarely wrong when you have complete unity, consistency. You got the UK, you got the GFS now, you got the CMC, you got the Icon, you got the Euro, all pretty much showing the same thing. As a matter of fact, let's zoom in on the latest. They were just running the latest UK when I forgot about it. UK did really good last year with Ian as far as track. So we're going to use it now and take a look at it. Let me go to Gulf of Mexico and we'll just look at pressure for now. And what you're noticing here, Sunday morning, we're starting to see a little lowering pressures at the tip of the Yucatan. That's starting to react to the approaching front. It's starting to lift. And here's the latest UK 12 or 00Z means the overnight run. And it's deepening. 993, 992, 990. Right there in the Big Bend area. So, could be Cat 1, 990 pressure. It's going to continue that, and it's going to do the skirt. So that's pretty much confidence at this point. I feel confident. You don't see a lot of, because that front's coming down, it all depends on how strong that front is, but when you have 5 models predicting the same type of outcome, you kind of have high confidence. And we have a little 989. So yeah, when we go to winds, let's just show you all the pressures since we're on this page. So there's the UK, here's the Euro again, showing you, a little later development, but still, there you go, 995 North Tampa. This is more Wednesday. Euro's about a day ahead of time, so it could be Tuesday, Wednesday. 992 over Jacksonville. That's pretty low pressures. It's gonna, you'll get winds in Brunswick, Savannah, Jacksonville area, Tallahassee. This thing will have just as much winds on the other side of the coast because it's starting to deepen. The pressure's starting to deepen a little bit. So you're going to feel pretty much the same effects of both sides of the state. Latest GFS, like I said, I was surprised it showed it. It's weak, yeah, but same general location. Canadian A. Same location. This is more later Tuesday. So there you go. We're not seeing any in the icon. So man, that's really big confidence. Some of your winds. Let's look at 10-meter winds on the icon. Starting to see signs of a sheared system. Didn't see it much last night, but now we are. We have the front digging down is going to bring shear basically. But here's your 10-meter winds. Obviously, south of center on the right east side there, spinning in. The Euro winds here are showing you that same thing. Kind of got to go by pressure. Some of these maps aren't really good about winds. You kind of just have to use common sense when you have pressures. Like Harold, for example, it was around 998. I think they ended up with 60-mile-an-hour winds or 55. I don't even remember what the official forecast was, but usually winds take a while to catch up. So like your pressure drops and then the winds catch up. But you just get an idea where the winds are, and then when it exits the state, look, the winds are going to start developing, and that means you're going to get them into Georgia and South Carolina as this thing passes on by. So that's that. I want to show you the wave map now. This is what's got my curiosity more than anything right now at this point. So, and it goes out 90 hours. That's a 6Z, so we got to go to 00Z. But this really kind of shocked me this morning a little bit. Not like trying to hype anything, but still really caught my attention was this. So, I mean, God, I don't want to ever act like I'm hyping anything, but those are pretty big wave maps for the Gulf of Mexico. So that 32 feet, that close to the coast with a super moon, it's going to magnify the surge effects, whatever they're going to be, if it's this tract north of Tampa Bay. So regardless of anything, the seas are going to be up. That's some big numbers. This would be Wednesday morning on the Euro. So that's just one little thing to think about. So Fishing Marie says, well, what's up, Kiki? So far, I don't see much. I don't see anything last second showing any, major hurricane showing, which is good news, right? I mean, we have a big question mark on what it's going to do the next 2 days over that Yucatan. But as far as your shear mean, it's definitely showing Tuesday, your jet stream is basically going to be blown in as this system wraps up. This is Wednesday morning, but you can just see the overall wind shear. Green is 20 to 35 knots. This is Wednesday morning on the Euro. So there is wind shear showing up. Here's Tuesday morning. Now, it's not honestly, that's not like, it's bad, but it's not like real bad, like 20, 30 knots. I mean, it's not ideal, but I was expecting maybe more to be showing. So, the wind shear is going to be there. But with that approaching front, will there be a little window of opportunity? So we'll keep an eye on it. Nothing's changed from last night. So that's the difference at this point. Until we start seeing modeling suggest otherwise, then we're leaving it that high-end tropical storm, low-end hurricane likely on approach with heavy rain. Some of the other maps I want to show you. Precipitable water maps. This was interesting to me last night. There's going to be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. I expected to see a little more dry air, but we're not really seeing it. So your PWatts are not on this one. Yeah, they are. So basically, with that approaching front, there's a lot of moisture. When we start seeing blue, that could be some pretty heavy rains. So we got to watch that. Could be a big rain event, which luckily it's moving fast. You don't want a slow-moving tropical system because then it has more time to dump a lot of rain. This is going to be moving fast. But as far as, like, let's say humidity, 700 humidity levels, just not showing. This is Tuesday. A little bit of dry air maybe, but not really. So there's going to be a lot of moisture down there to work with for this thing to develop thunderstorms and rains before that front comes down. The front's going to be pretty wicked looking, by the way. I was seeing 60. I shared a map. We had 50s possibly into the northern parts of Florida later in the week next week with this front coming down. Here's the front coming down. That's going to lift our system to the north. And there you go. That is incredible. So here's your front on like Wednesday. That's dry air indicating our front. But that dry air sneaks down into Florida over the weekend. And I was seeing temperatures that were actually unheard of for this time of year. For the weekend, possibly. So Thursday and Friday, here's Thursday. We could be touching 60s across the upper Gulf Coast. But then we get into the weekend, we got 60s dipping down into the peninsula, like low 60s this weekend. That's almost 71 in Tampa. This is almost fire pit weather, man. What's up with that? So September 3rd, we could have a fire in Tampa. We might hit 69, 71, but that's, So anyway, big cold front coming. That's what's lifting our system up, moving on out of here. Incredible. What a break from the heat, right? I mean, you talk about how weather, and we had big storms in Michigan yesterday. We talked about the Storm Prediction Center. Big tornado up there around the Great Lakes. 2 days in a row of nasty weather up that way. It's dipping a little farther south today, but just wanted to point that out in case you didn't hear. They had some bad weather up that way, Michigan. So there we go. What else can we talk about? Feels pretty good at this point. If you want to zoom in on where we're looking, I got the GOES East satellites here linked. Can't really see anything now, but you can if you kind of look at some of the other maps. So we'll click on that map here. What would be a good one to kind of show the overall? This one might be too bad. This is a 36 megabyte file. Oh my goodness. Can we crash Chrome for the second time this season? Nope, did not. All right. Good little map here. You can see the upper level low in the Bay of Campeche right here spinning off. This helped lift our system up yesterday. So what we got right now basically is a broad area of low pressure trying to get going somewhere right here. That's eventually going to kind of go here and it's going to stall and possibly get going. So you can kind of see the spin a little bit. Definitely see a little bit of spin right there, especially now that we got visible satellite coming up. You can kind of see the low clouds. Sometimes on the red, green, blue maps, you can see them a little better. But definitely seeing a little spin right here developing. It's not really good yet because we haven't had much daylight. Maybe the red, green, blue we can see a little better. I like the red, green, blue satellites because you can see lower level clouds a lot better than upper level clouds. So very clear right now. You can see it. Just kind of focused about right there. And you can see the southern winds rolling in, a little bit of convection firing. So that's that. We go to the wind, our null school map. Sometimes we can see it too. I didn't even think about that. Let's take a look over here and zoom in to lower level winds. And you can kind of see things shaping up here a little bit. 850. Broad spin right here, 850. Look at that. You can see it right there. So that's our spot to watch. There's that wind shear 500 millibar that was lifted our system up across the Pacific yesterday. All reacting to that upper level system here that's passing through the bay. The bay. All right. So Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to hang out. We got a lot of people down in Belize. We got a lot of people in Yucatan. It's actually going to sit down there, bringing a lot of rain for that area this weekend. Before it decides to get on out of here, let's zoom in super close here to that area. Just kind of show you what it might look like rains wise. So here's later today, Friday, Saturday, a lot of rain tomorrow. It's going to start, they start to see signs of a spin over the Yucatan tomorrow, Saturday. And then it's going to slowly lift to the north. A lot of rain on Sunday. A lot of rain. Could be a big issue down there. I saw some videos from Honduras that were really bad flooding from the same general area that crossed. A lot of juice down there with that MJO, I'm telling you. So the Euro is the slowest to develop our system. Then it lifts it north. And this is kind of what, that's heavy rain. That's heavy thunderstorms, heavy rain. Wednesday. This is Florida. If you can't figure that out, it's hard to see. But so, that's about sums it up right now. All the models are pretty much focusing here. Little North Tampa Bay, crossing through the Northeast. Things could get nasty. Like I was saying, look at that. That's some serious rain and storms now coming in from the Atlantic. So it's going to, it's not, everybody always focuses on landfall, but this thing is going to be whipping up some storms and heavy rains as it exits. And this is going to spread through the Carolinas, across Charleston. Here's Thursday, 3 a.m., the winds are going to be rolling in off the Atlantic, so that places that experience flooding, we're going to be dealing with that super moon. Myrtle Beach, Wilmington. So, it's going to bring some coastal action on its way out of here. But by Friday, it's gone. Big question is Tuesday or Wednesday. Some of the models are a little earlier than others. But that's that. Any waves coming off Africa? Yeah, long range. There's always waves off Africa. Let's take a look. Kind of get focused on this and we forget. But nothing really showing there. Invest 92 kind of stops. Franklin, Edal, Y'all, and Invest 92. Edal, Y'all could get close to Bermuda. Edal, Y'all. I don't know. Canadian stalls out, Invest 92 too. 2-2. There is expected to be a lot of wind shear across the Atlantic. I read could slow things down a couple weeks. So let's look at some long range modeling maps here and see any other areas that might look suspicious. So really nothing popping on the Euro. This is Invest 92, that's wave, but man, by looking 10 days, man, it's quiet. So yeah, we might be in a little break. I don't know. Things pop up quick, as we know, but long range, nothing stands out. You got the global tropics hazards map here. They highlighted this. I don't know. Half the time I don't trust these maps. But anyway, this is highlighting our area in the Gulf, and especially the Atlantic, and then it goes to September 6th to 12th. Shows a system in the Atlantic, but that might just be going off climatology more than anything. But we have no invest yet, so we have to wait for spaghetti models. But as soon as they're out, I'll let everybody know. I'll send out a notification on our app. Thanks for all the new app subscribers. GFS is finally showing something, D, over there on YouTube. 1,001 now. Catching up. Actually, let's look at the, I haven't looked at the GFS ensembles. I told my buddy Austin last night, I'm like, I'm not even going to look at that ever again, but I'm going to look at them now. I just hated you. All right, let's take a look here at the golf, and we will look at cyclones and see what the GFS ensembles are saying. So there's high confidence again. I mean, man, you know, pretty much that is where all the models are showing. There's a few scragglers down here, but this is the GFS ensembles. Yeah, and like I said, the most intense Euro shown is a 970 range. That's, you know, if you're worried about storms like Michael or Ian, I mean, you know, we'd have to start seeing something in the 920s, 30s, 40s, 50s pressure range. But, you know, with the forward speed and some shear in the Gulf, if this thing parked outside of the Yucatan, you know, but so far the modeling is showing it over the land, which would slow development. But anyway, I hope some of this made sense. Cool, Becky. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Non-exciting. But hey, anyway, so we're streaming live on X and YouTube and, of course, Facebook. You can go back and watch these. I always embed the YouTube on our page. A lot of people watch it after. If you follow me on TikTok, I appreciate it. My last video had 600,000 views over there. I can't believe it. So welcome if you're coming over from TikTok. Found my little niche over there. So Kelly wants to know, do I see a northward trend? I don't. I see north of Tampa, eastern part of the Panhandle so far. I'll probably do one tonight. Yep, Wendy. We'll do one tomorrow. Probably not Sunday because we got softball. Lord Andrew, Lorena, what's up? How does my family deal with school closures? Anxious. I don't know. I think it all comes down to probably what they hear in school. Maybe, you know. I mean, my kids aren't very nervous when I go into hurricanes because I'm a kind of a calm guy. So as long as you kind of remain calm with kids and just help educate them, it's, you know, might not be that bad. Trust me, living in Tornado Alley, you know, seeing these tornadoes, mudslides, earthquakes, tsunamis, fires, I mean, those type of disasters, you don't have time to prepare, and sometimes it's way worse. You know, a lot of what we do with this is show you all the expectations of what you're probably going to see, so it makes sense, right? I mean, hurricane deaths, around 88% of all hurricane deaths are water related. So if you know you're worried about that, you stay away from the water. If you're in a surge area, and if you're listen to your local officials. If you're told to evacuate, I highly recommend it. I used to not, but I understand now. If you need to call 911, they can't come. You lose power, and water's rising, and roads are closed. You're stranded, you know. And I've heard real stories of this from Ian now. And you know, I saw stories from Katrina and stuff, but now I hear the stories. So that, you know, water is the big thing. like I said, luckily this thing's moving kind of quick, so we shouldn't see too much rain issues. However, a lot of rain can dump fast. Here's the latest Euro. You know, some of these pockets of white and purple are 6, 7, 8, 9 inches. But we're seeing 3, 4, 5 inches all across western parts of Florida here. So definitely, you know, inland flooding could be an issue to deal with. People ask about the panhandle. You know, obviously the east side of the storm, you get very little on the west side. So you can, I mean, I believe what we're seeing here so far. I mean, the front, if you know, think about Ian. My God, we had models bouncing around all over the place, right? I mean, we at least see model consistency right now. Anyway, Scott, Bob, what's up? So a weaker cold front would allow more time to go northward, basically. At the front, which would put more of the panhandle in play. So anyway, so there you go. I talked about all this. What else we can talk about? So yeah, it's, you know, it's time to prepare. You got, you know, anybody's got their Furman generators, make sure you got there. You know, I got mine started the other day. Make sure the battery's charged. Remember, these batteries don't stay charged forever. So if you got an electric start generator, probably a good thing to plug it in and trickle charge it. Make sure your gas is filled up. I always recommend filling up your cars. You know, if you are in an evacuation area or just having gas in general, there could be, you know, chaos and gas is out again. So you never know. It's always good to have gas. And all the other stuff. So anyway, so what we're doing at this point basically is looking at model trends. We know it's going to be a lot of winds. We know it's going to be sheared a little bit off to the east. We know that we could have a potential hurricane. Some of these pressures are showing that. People talking about a major hurricane. I don't even know if I've seen one model showing that yet. So I'd be careful mentioning major hurricane until we start to see that possibility. But a couple days ago, you know, the Euro showed 970 range. But as long as it's staying around 990, you know, even high 980s, then it's, you know, not in that category. So there you go. That's it, man. Anyway, what do you think, my buddy Dylan? Dylan's down there, Hubbard's. We rode out Ada together. Ada was a very interesting storm here in Pinellas County. We had Carl. Kind of reminds me of Hermine and Ada. Honestly, good question. Hermine passed. You know, it was a little more panhandle. Fast moving. The only difference we got this year is a couple things. One, so water temperatures this year are definitely 4 to 5 degrees above normal. I mean, so the big question mark from every meteorologist is they don't really know. You know, look at last week Harold, right? Last second Harold developed an eye and basically was very impressive, and it dumped a lot of rain, a lot more rain than was predicted. There was no rain maps that showed these type of numbers with Harold. The initial rain maps for Harold were nothing, if you remember, right? They didn't even show it going inland. And it ended up dumping 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of rain around Corpus Christi. So, you know, the big question mark is the water temperature. So that's, you know, kind of got everybody, you know, its attention a little bit. Like, will this thing have a little more ability to, you know, strengthen the last second? I am still curious about that. MJO is a huge weather maker. You know, we had Elsa a few years ago. almost followed the exact same path as Eta, predicted to be a hurricane, and the hurricane hunters were out there flying around, and all of a sudden it just like squashed. And sinking dry air can do that. And that's kind of what happened with Elsa. The hurricane hunters made a final pass, and it was like, where did this storm just disappeared? That was because we were in a suppressed stage of that MJO, and we had extremely dry, sinking air. And we're not going to have that with this system. So really the only negative going against it will be a little bit of wind shear out there. So we got to watch it. Got to watch it. Elsa was interesting. I was out there watching it. I was out storm chasing, and I remember hurricane winds were being picked up by the hurricane hunters off the coast of Braden and Sarasota. And then all of a sudden, man, they made another pass, and the pressure went from like 1,000 or 9 something to like 1,007. Like it completely, I was like, all of a sudden the pressure just disappeared, and it just went squash. So I never really saw any reports, but I went back and looked, and we were under a very suppressed phase of that MJO, and my theory is exactly what MJO does, and it's a sinking of dry air, and when you take away moisture right here, it just squashed it. So we're in this phase right now where you get a lot of increased thunderstorms. So that's why I think, regardless of strength, we're going to see a lot of squally weather coming in off of that Gulf of Mexico, because we're going to see moisture already in place in the atmosphere along with this MJO. And if it is sheared, that's going to push into Florida. So Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm telling you, it'll be very interesting days to watch ahead. But today's what, Friday? So we're kind of getting confidence, you know. To be honest, I'm a little surprised the NHC was only at 70%. We'll see what they are at 2. So the next graphic we have coming out is at 2 o'clock right here. We'll see what they have at 2 p.m. Don't be afraid. It's not, you know, it's not like we're talking about all the other big storms that we've talked about over the years. So, but sneaky, yeah. Sneaky, yeah. It could definitely be a Debbie Downer for a lot of people, especially when we get tornadoes and, you know, definitely can see that across the state. I mean, we could probably start to see some of these models across the state showing some instability, maybe. I don't know what I'm going to look at. Let's see. I know we're going to have a lot of instability. I don't know if the Cape's going to show up yet or not. Yeah, the Cape that's not a good measure for tropical systems, I've found over the years. Let's see if we can look at anything else. Maybe. No snowfall. Anyway, it all made sense to me. All right, so Brew Crew supporters, appreciate it. We always get a lot of new subscribers. You know, that's just a way to help the page and what I do. So thank you very much. We have a lot of great sponsors. Of course, ABC for many, many, many years. I got a little sponsor box there. I throw up every now and then. Frank over at Coastal Claims here in New Smyrna Beach. If you need any help with insurance, he's helped out so many people. Done Right Roofing, I already mentioned. Of course, local, Pasco, Pinellas, Hillsboro. They're wonderful in our community. Furman, we love Furman to death. Power Equipment, located at Lowe's. Now, Lodging Solutions, been a long time follower and supporter of us. They're up first on the scene, helping with the mobile tents. Of course, Tammy OSR. So we have quite a few. We got a window company maybe. We try to have 6 big supporters. So thank you guys. We'll be live tonight. We'll announce the time later, and then whatever works out tomorrow, we'll figure that out tomorrow. There you go. And I'm glad I'm not at Daytona, Carla just said, because I would be stressing right now. That's exactly why I was so mad that they switched the damn race. They put the race right in the middle of hurricane season, man. It used to be July 4th weekend, right? I'd be probably not even over there. I've canceled more trips because of the tropics. And we used to go to Daytona every year, the family and I, back when the kids weren't not in school because it was July 4th. But there's no way I'd be over there right now because I would be stressing about providing weather. Not stressing about a storm, but it's hard to be enjoying adult beverages and be coherent with the weather. So glad I'm not over there. But if you are over there, have fun. Local news covering this great. Yep, Chris mentioned Dennis Phillips, a good friend of mine, Paul Delgado. Jeff over at NBC now, Bobby Deskins, and Mike Clay. Man, I'm so lucky. I know all 5 top chief Mets here in Tampa Bay, and I can say that they become friends. So that's pretty neat. Cool. All right. Well, have a great Friday. We'll be waiting on some models. Noontime, we start getting some 12Z model runs. Really nothing between now and then. I pretty much covered everything. I think I'm going to go have some coffee. Chris Robbins, if you're around, I got my coffee. I'm taking to Mom and Dad. My coffee sponsor. Mountain to Mountain. Is that what? I can't remember. Is that right? Is that Mountain to Sea? Excuse me. He always sends me coffee. So I'm going to go give it to Mom. All right. So appreciate. Oh, he got me a little note here too. I didn't even know. Let's see what he said. Tell my folks we have coffee on a ship coming from Central America. Oh, Chad, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much. All right, we'll see y'all later. I'll do a little TikTok here in a little bit, probably right now, and then I want to go drink coffee.